The message was, Gurumukh hove so saalahe, sache thakur ve parvahe, nanak naam vasaavani-aa, gur shabdi har milaavani-aa. Only the one who is following on the footsteps of the true master that one is the only one who will indulge himself, herself into the memory of that ultimate creator. Gurumukh hove so saalahe. Gurumukh means the one who follows the word coming from the master. Saalahe means to sing the praises of the ultimate creator. Only the one who is following the word from the master. Who is that ultimate creator? Sache thakur ve parvahe. The one that is truth, nothing but the truth. Sache thakur. Ve parvahe means carefree. Not careless, carefree. The one who is unattached, unaffected by anything from the outside. And for that individual, nanak naam vasaavani-aa, the word goes deep inside the heart. It is not anymore bound by the intellectual gymnastics or a linguistic trap, because it is now inside the heart. Nanak naam vasai. Vasai means to reside forever. Tani-antar, it becomes the part and parcel of the entire mind-body system. And when that happens, gur shabdi har milaavani-aa, then the possibility of becoming one with the one opens up. What does that mean? Possibility of becoming one with the one. The next hymn expands on that thought. So I shared this with you so that we can see the relationship of the first hymn with the next hymn. The next hymn says, Tayray bhagat soheh sache darbaaray, gur ke shabd naam savaaray, sadaa anand raheh din raatee, gun ke gunee samaavani-aa. Tayray bhagat, those who have truly become your meditators. There is no precise word in English language to describe the word bhagat. The closest is the meditator. That is how dangerous the trap of the language is. Because you can only approximate. Imagine going from one language to the other, if that is the approximation, how much approximation it would be when you come from the creator to the outside world? Can you see the helplessness of the true master? The master is observing something, experiencing something, and the master wants to communicate, share it, but finds no equivalent words. And one of the reasons Eastern languages became so complex as compared to the Western and European languages is exactly that. Eastern and European languages evolved only with the outside observation, whereas Eastern languages evolved trying to express the inside, which is not visible from the outside. You can see that difference. English has 26 letters in the alphabet, out of which 21 are consonants and 5 are vowels. In the Punjabi language, there are 35 consonants and 13 vowels, and every consonant has its half. It's half sound. So your standard keyboard is incapable of even typing the language, much less expressing it. That's how the translation, that's how the interpretation slowly gets distorted. And we have to then go back and revisit, set the clock again, go to the basics, re-look at it, reinterpret it. And if you look at the sequence of Western civilization, that's exactly what has happened. Moses said something, Christ modified, and Christ said something, Muhammad modified. Same thing has happened into the eastern side. Veda said something, Buddha reinterpreted. Buddha said something, Nanak reinterpreted. To get back to the basics. Gurbani says, Ved kateb kaho mat jhoote, jhootha jo na bichare. Don't blame the literature. Ved means the Veda from Hindus. Kateb means the literature from Muslims. So, Ved kateb kaho mat jhoote. They have done nothing wrong. They are not communicating the false notions. Then where did the notions come from? Say, notions came from vichare, the interpretation. The translators, the commentators. Because the commentators had their personal bias. So if I am in the employment of a king, and the king says, take this and interpret it. Now I am going to keep in mind that I should not say anything that will offend this, my employer. There is a proof of this happening in the 19th century. United Nations had a grant for one individual and told him, we want you to translate this scripture that we are looking at, line by line, but in poetic format. His name was Bhai Gopal Singh. Now he was given the grant, millions of dollars. He took on this, that I am going to translate this line by line in a poetic form. Now if he was the true believer of the scripture, he would have denied that, because it is impossible to interpret this even after so much explanation of a single word. And he wrote the entire thing. Whether it matched, whether it communicated, whether the word was sufficient or not, it didn't matter, because he had to keep it in poetic format. And there are people who can study only in English, so they are reading that. This has happened all through the history. That's why history cannot be depended upon, because the history has a bias of the person, of the time, and of the place. There are two Christian priests. MacLeod was one of them. He had a charter to go to India, particularly to Punjab, study Sikhism, find the loopholes in the Sikhism, and then propagate Christianity as a counter to that. His entire life is dedicated to that task. And he has written books. He has translated this scripture. But with the attitude, he's going to take this, interpret it, and then say, Bible is better than this. You can read MacLeod, you can see the bias in the history, in the translation. The second was McAuliffe. He did the same thing. Now the interesting thing is, the Sikh PhDs are now quoting McAuliffe and MacLeod. This is what he has said. It must be right. This is how the scriptures get distorted, misinterpreted. The message is completely lost. No relationship with what is being said, what's being communicated. That is why today we are reminded, Tayray bhagat soheh saachai darbaaray. We do not have the equivalent word of the bhagat or the sachaa. All we can say is absolute truth, nothing but the truth. But the word for such does not exist, because English has only two words, truth and fact. That's it. But sachaa is non-physical in nature. There's no equivalent word for it. The true meditator, in the true presence of the ultimate creator, would be immediately recognizable, would be immediately identifiable. Why? Because the impurity and the purity can be separated in that dimension. In this dimension, they are mixed, they are overlapping. We cannot see the purity, because purity belongs to the internal, And if you say, I am going to bring the most experienced surgeon and cut the body and find the truth in there, you are not going to find it. You cannot see it. There are no instruments to measure it. Much less. The scientific instruments cannot even measure how much headache you have. Right? You can say, I am hurting. Fine. How much are you hurting? A lot. How much is that lot? Is there any instrument designed by science which can tell you, as it can tell you the temperature and the blood pressure, can it also tell you how much hurt it is? It cannot. There is no such thing. So how do you define that truth then? All you can say is, it is the purity in perfection. Not an iota of a mix-up. Tayray bhagat soheh saachai darbaaray. Your meditators are recognizable in your court, in your presence. How did they get to that stage? Guru ke sabad naam savaaray. Because they accepted the basic premise from their master, Guru. Now we do not have an equivalent word for Guru either. We have only two words in English language. One is a teacher, the other is a master. Neither one of them describe Guru. Those who take from the spiritual master that word sabad, with its implementation, naam savaaray, they transform themselves. They transform their consciousness. Savaaray literally means to beautify. When you go out, that's a very common Punjabi term. Sawar le apne aap nu zara. Swarna doesn't mean to do makeup. Swara literally means to become presentable. How do they become presentable in your court? They become presentable in your court with the help of sabad. Sadaa, anand, raheh, raatee. And because of that characteristic, they are forever in a blissful state of existence, day and night. There is no tension on their face, ever. Sadaa, anand, raheh, raatee. And what happens? Gun kahi. Because they only talk of your praise, gun, your characteristics, good qualities. Because they are saying the good qualities and remembering the good qualities, they themselves become part of the good qualities. What you teach, you become. What you become, you teach. You keep on repeating the good characteristics, they become part of you and you become part of them. Ha-umai, jee-o, naam, sun man vasaavani-aa. They surrender their ego permanently and they take the word from the master. into their own heart. Har jee-o sadaa oocho, oochaa, ha-umai, milaavani-aa. Why have they do that? Why have they? What is the compulsion? Why they have to do this? Beautiful metaphor. If you want to become the part of the highest, oocho, oochaa, oocho literally means the highest. If you want to become the part of the highest, visualize yourself. If you have any weight, any mass, can you fly higher? So if you want to fly higher you want to go, lesser mass you should have. Is it not? More ego you have, more grounded you will be, closer to the ground. Lesser your ego, lighter you become. And the lighter you become, higher you go. Isn't that amazing metaphor? They surrender their ego and they don't say, I want to fly high. Because they are surrendering their ego, that's why they are going higher. This is connected. Because if they say, I am losing my ego because I want to go higher, guess what? They are backtracked. In their own words, they are stuck. Because of ego came from the back door without them becoming aware of it. No. Har jee-o sachaa, oocho, oochaa. He is the purest truth. He is the highest from the higher. Now how do you become part of it? How do you meet this higher from the higher? The answer is, ha-umai milaavani-aa. Keep on reducing the weight, the pull of the gravity, pull of the earth. What is the pull toward the earth? Your ego. The day it becomes zero, you will automatically fly to the yonder. Now there will be nothing to hold you back. You may think about the latest particle discovered called Higgs boson. They cannot measure its mass. What is its weight? What is its mass? Because the darn thing appears and then disappears before they can do anything with it. Here is a perfect example of weightless, massless particle, which becomes mass from nothing to the mass. It travels through the Higgs field, it achieves mass. But when it appears, it's zero. Even the electron has a mass, smallest particle. Proton and neutron, of course, have the mass. But electron, they were able to measure, this is the mass of an electron. They cannot measure the mass of a Higgs boson. That's why it can appear in the beginning of the consciousness. But scientists, instead of going into vismad, going into state of awe, they are going into state of extreme ego-ness. Hey, we now know. We have found the secret. And they found nothing. They have absolutely found nothing. Why? One fundamental question. Take a single cell, make it alive. That's it. Take any DNA molecule and put the life in it. There's a difference between a dead cell and an alive cell, right? We all know that. We can see under the microscope. Just ask them this question, that's it. Make this cell come to life. Let this cell grow and then break itself into multiple parts. You have found the secret of life. Because that's how the life starts, isn't it? One cell meeting another cell, joining the hands, and then start growing. Grow to a certain critical size and then break itself into half. And when it breaks itself into half, both half acquires different properties. When it has 16 parts, each part go into the different part of the body, and certain things becomes arms, and certain things becomes brain, and certain things becomes fingers and heart, and etc., etc., etc. Because they are alive. There's a life in it. That extreme energy is sitting in each cell. Now, if you know the secret of life, and if the Darwinian theory is so great, take any single cell and bring it to life. And if you cannot, stop jabbering. You are fooling nobody except yourself. He is greater than the greatest. Jee-o, sachaa, oocho, oochaa. He is the ultimate truth. He is the highest than the high. And the only way you can become part of high of the high, ha-umai milaavani-aa, by reducing your ego to infinitesimal zero. Jee-o, sachaa, sachai, naa-ee. Not only he is the truth, his name is also the truth. You cannot give it any other name. But we insist, I have my name. I am going to give you a name. I am going to call you Allah. No, 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 I am going to call you God. No, no, I am going to call you Jehovah. No, no, I am going to call you Ram. No, no, I am going to call you Vishnu. Anand, 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 anand. How can you name him? The moment you name him, you limit him. The moment you say Jaswant, a certain features, physical characteristics flash in your head. Ah, this is how he looked like. Are you going to name God? Are you going to name the Creator? Other than, he is the ultimate truth. That's it. Jee-o, sachaa, he is the truth. Sachaa, naa-ee, the truth, name is also truth. Gur prasadi kise milaa-ee. It is his grace. If you get this secret, if you get to him, if you can even envision him, if you can even accept this simple thought, you can only accept it if you drop your old programming, your earlier knowledge, earlier training, earlier thought process. It doesn't matter where it came from. It came from your parents, grandparents, teachers, society, universities, books, magazines. It doesn't matter what your source of information is. Unless you drop all of that, you are not going to get this. And even it goes to so far as you cannot even drop it. are so much attached, you cannot. That in itself is His grace. Just the courage, just the conviction that I can drop all of this programming and transform my thinking to that Guru Prasadi. That's also grace. Prasad literally means grace, blessing, benediction. Guru Prasadi kise milaaye? Kise? A rare one. A rare one meets this thought and energy. It's an exception. Gur shabd mile se vichhade nahi. But remember, every other kind of understanding can modify itself. Every other kind of meeting requires a separation. Think about it. You are in love with somebody absolutely to no extent. You are madly in love. Okay? You meet that someone. You embrace that someone. Keep that person in your arms for about 2 minutes. What is the thought? What is the urge? Let me go now. No, wait a minute, I thought you were in love. Why do you want to be separated? Think about it. Unless you separate, you cannot feel that love again. Unless you can look from a distance, you cannot experience the closeness. Because if you are so in madly love, now you are together, you are in embrace, just stay there. The interesting thing is when you are embraced by Him, you never separate. There is never an urge to separate. It is that kind of meeting. Can you see the difference? When you meet Him and He accepts you, that embrace will be eternal. Have you seen any ocean telling the drop, now you have tasted me, get the hell out? If the drop falls into the ocean, right? Ocean never wants it to separate again. That's the difference between meeting Him and meeting your love of your life. Even in the initial stages when the love is blooming, you can see this behavior. Because then you want to sit next to each other. You want to keep that much distance to keep the love alive, otherwise the love will become punishment. It will change into a torture. Let me go. It is suffocating me. The love disappears right away. Not meeting Him. That is not the quality of meeting Him. So if you ever want to experience a meeting where there is no separation, there is only one meeting. You cannot find a meeting anywhere else in the entire universe of any form where the separation is not required other than meeting with Him. Hardiyo sachaa sachi naai, gur prasadi kise milaaye, gur shabd mile se vichhade nahi. They never separate. They vichhade nahi. Vichhada means to separate, to detach. They never detach. Why? Saachai, sach samaavani-aa. Now they are one with the one. They have merged. There is no difference. Because when, and you can see this, because we are talking of energies. You take one candle, light it up. Take another candle, light it up. Then bring the two flames together. See if you can separate them. See if you can identify them. See if you can notice their boundary. Because if they are merged, there is no boundary. They cannot be recognized separately. तुझते बाहर कछु न होए, तू कर कर वेखें जाने सोए, आपे करे कराए करता गुरमत आप मिलावने. Why there is no separation? The next metaphor, look at it. Separation means I can go somewhere else. Look at that fish which is swimming in the ocean. Now you can see that the ocean and the fish are two separate entities. And if the fish gets the idea that I want to separate from the ocean, can I do it? Because the moment she gets out of the water, she stops existing as a fish. If she wants to exist as a fish, there is no chance other than be the part of it, because there is no other separate place. So if we want to be separate from Him, where will we go? Is there another universe created by another God? Where will we go? We are the fish, He is the ocean. We experience each other separately. But if we ever get the idea that I am going to be free of this, we will stop existing as what we are. You cannot separate. It's not possible. तुझते बाहर कछु ना हो. Nothing can be separate from you. Because you are contained in one, one is contained in you. It's a cyclical relationship, it's circular. That is why the riddle of chicken and egg cannot be solved. Egg is in the chicken, chicken is in the egg. It's a circular relationship. You cannot find out which came the first. That question is irrelevant. It is a wrong question, hence all answers will be wrong. Separating from the creative energy is a wrong notion. तुझते बाहर किछु ना होए, तू कर कर वेखे जाने सोए. All the things are being manifested by you, and while getting manifested, you are the observer of that manifestation, because you are inside and outside. You are both the doer and the observer of that action. That's why I have shared this with you. You are sitting there not listening. He is sitting there listening. I am not sitting here talking. He is sitting here talking. So here he is talking, there he is listening. But it is him. That's the beauty of his drama. That's the beauty of his creation. Human cannot do this. Human can create just as God creates. Somebody painted this. But where is the painter? He's sitting in his own home. Painting is sitting right here. The creation separates and the creator is somewhere else. That is the human way of creating. His way of creating, once he creates, he becomes part of it. Every single creation. The plant, the birds, the animals, the humans. No matter what he creates, he is a part of that creation. Never separate. And while in that creation, he experiences what the creation is experiencing. So if we are happy from the outside, he is experiencing our happiness sitting inside. If we are sad, he is experiencing that sadness sitting inside. If we are angry, he is experiencing that anger inside. If we are excited, he is experiencing that excitement. When our body gets hungry, he sees from inside, the body needs energy now. Because if it doesn't get the energy, I will have to abandon it. When we say death by starvation, what does that mean? He observes from inside, this vehicle, this container has not enough energy to contain me now. I leave, that's it. Body remains, energy goes away. तू कर कर वेखें जाने सोए. You do it, you observe it, and you experience it. आपे करे कराए करता. You are the doer and you are the cause of that doing. Why should I do this something? I said, I don't know. You know why you are doing this. You are the cause. For us, it is very, very difficult to accept. Very difficult to swallow this truth. Because if that innocent observer on the New York City on the 5th Avenue got shot today, if you ask that family, what would they say? Those 6 worshippers who died only a couple of weeks ago at the hands of a murderer, what should their near and dear think? For them, the shooter is different and the victim is different. Not only that, for them it is totally unjustified. For no fault of their own, they lost their lives. That's how you look at from the outside. But that creator from the inside, he's observing. He is the shooter, he is the victim. Mull over it for a while. Meditate it over for a while. Think about it for a while. And this thought will create tons of emotion, tons of argument, tons of objection. Say, no, wait a minute, now you've gone too far. I cannot deal with this. When the thought was pleasant, I was okay with it. Can you tell that to the 6 million Jews who are being sent to the gas chambers? That Hitler is the one in him operating, and he's the one in you receiving that punishment. Can you tell them? Think about it. But that is the bitter truth. That is the ultimate mystery. That is the ultimate mystical message. Because he will ask you, I want you to design a drama which will leave the impression for the time immemorial for the entire humanity, that they should never forget that these type of choices are not to be made in the future. Go ahead, design it. 5,000 years have gone by and Indians are discussing the war of Mahabharata today. Is it not? Just as many years have gone by and the character of Ravana and Rama are being discussed today. You go ahead and write a drama where such a memory can persist not for one generation, not for 10 generations, but forever and ever the time to come. Wouldn't the characters have to be that extreme? That's the drama. Can you see the secret of it? Can you see why they are so difficult to accept us? Because we are only concerned with 70, 80 years of the time span that we are alive on this planet. He is looking at the entire eternity. His responsibility is not just because I am alive for the next 70 years, so he should be thinking about me. He is thinking of every form of creation that he created. Every single form. And every single form is evolving. They are not stagnant. Nothing has stayed the same. If you want to just look back your own childhood and see, are you the same now? The belief systems, the fears, the hopes, are they the same? I was amazed to read the news that a valedictorian girl delivering the last speech to the school wrote in her speech that when I was a little girl I was thinking I will be this. Then I came to the primary school, I thought I will be that. Then I came to the high school and I thought I will be that. Now I'm in college and they're asking me, what are you going to be? And I told them, what the hell do I know? You know what happened? The principal held the diploma back. You are not going to be given the diploma. She said, what did I do wrong? You said hell in your speech. And she said, when I submitted my speech to you, I had not used word hell, I had written, what the heck do I know? But there, while speaking, I misspoke in excitement and said, what the hell? It's an honest mistake. Principals have nothing doing. You are not getting the diploma. Now there is a petition on the internet. Should she apologize? 80% of the people have sent the replies back. There is no need for her to apologize. Principal is wrong. What the hell do I know? What an honest admission. You think about yourself. Are you the same? What you thought as a child, what you thought as a teenager, as an adult, as a married, as a separated, whatever. Aren't you moving? Are you not changing? Are you not evolving? Are you not growing? Who do you think designed this life? And who's worrying about it? Our parents? Our teachers? Our universities? But there is one who's worrying about it. It's He. When you are ready for a certain lesson, He brings it to you. He presents you to the environment. He creates the set of circumstances. He brings the characters in your life. It's your choice whether you learn, grow or not. But He is doing His job. Never fails. Not for a single one. तुझते बाहर कछु ना होए तू कर कर वेखे जाने सोए आपे करे कराए करता. He's the doer. He's the cause. Gurmate aap milaavani-aa. Those who understand this, accept this, they are getting ready to meet you. कामन गुणवंती हर भाए पै भाए सीगार बनाए सतगुरु सेव सदा सोहागण सच उपदेश समावने. Those who transform themselves, bhaa-ay. Bhaa means in your respect. As we, bhaa literally translated is fear, but this is not fear as we are afraid from our enemy. The word is only one, fear. But you are afraid of your enemy and you are afraid of your parents. Two fears are not the same. This is the respect for that Creator. Those who develop that, bhaa-ay, sigar banaye, transform themselves, make themselves presentable, Satguru sev sada sohag, then forever and ever you are accepted. Sach updesh samaavani-aa. You become part of that true message. Updesh means the message, the advice. So, we will take a pause here now. And if there are any comments or questions, the lines are still open.